Good morning, everyone. Thank you to Brent and Joe for inviting us here under Hannan. Thanks to the organisers. I'm going to skip through a couple of projects here. It's a big ask actually to follow you, Brent, because you just trash everything we do in the business. So now I've got to try and prove everything that we do right. But Hannan had its origins here about 5 or 6 years ago. One of my good friends and one of the world's berry explorers who's sitting in the room here, Tim Moody, and I sat down and said, where are we going to make the big discoveries? Where are we going to go and make those discoveries where people haven't looked before? And I think you get to that at a certain stage of life where you've got the experience in certain jurisdictions and ideas around mineralisation and the ability to fund them. And that's where we're here. This title of the talk is We Like Elephants. So we're looking for something very big and new in frontier areas. So this is not for the faint-hearted, for us to explore, nor necessarily for you to invest without really understanding what we're trying to do. But if we're successful, this is going to be, one of those next major discoveries in the space. So I've already started talking. I'm a geologist, I'm an optimist, so just be very aware of everything I'm going to tell you. So what makes Hannan a little different or special? Certainly we're one of the big movers in Peru. We're a micro-cap company, a 25, 30 million market cap, but one of the largest landholders in Peru, top 10 landholder. And to make those big discoveries, you need those big land positions. We have two very different projects, the San Martin sediment-hosted copper play that we're in joint venture with the Japanese government. They've got $35 million to spend to earn 75%. They don't earn any. They haven't earned any percentage yet, but they're funding all exploration. So that's costing Hannan shareholders nothing with full exposure. Then we have the copper gold porphyries a few hundred kilometres south. We call that project Valiente, and that's in our own right. So that will give investors the key talk to the project in terms of 100% exposure. So I suppose JOGMEC are the group who funds early stage explorers like ourselves. They've got 21 projects worldwide, and they're seeking future metal supply for the Japanese industry. So that, I think, gives you some idea of just the quality of people in the company if one of the major governments worldwide is backing us. It's only 1/3 of our ground position. And a little plug here for those Australians in the audience. We listed a company in Australia over the last few weeks. It's gone 3 to 4 times in that time based on discovery, based on drilling, and I think that demonstrates also we know what to do to make the share price go up, as ultimately that's what we have to do. Key point, you'll see these slides in every presentation, but genuinely we need to get it right on the ground, and genuinely we are working very closely with groups who really haven't dealt with the mining industry before. So if we don't get this right, it's not even worth looking at the rocks. So I've just spent the last week talking to lots of local villages, and we've got a very big social team, and the mining industry is now ready to explore in places like this, I think, where we go in basically and say, we want to work with you, can we come in? And if it's a no, we don't go in. And that's a very different approach than we've taken over the years. So the two projects, we'll talk about San Martin, which is in the north. You can see the major deposits are in the Andes. We're looking in the back arc over the Andes, which is high jungle, which is very similar to the photo you showed there, Brent. And so it's really tough exploration, and that's the opportunity because people really haven't looked here before. I've been in Peru for 25 years. I had to have military escorts into those areas 25 years ago. Now it's a very different proposition. A lot of people have moved down there, and the main trade of the day back 25 years ago has basically been removed in that drug growing area from those days. So it's really a frontier area opened up, lots of infrastructure that didn't exist before. So we like elephants. We like the model here. This is the sediment hosted copper model. Think of it like a pancake. Our copper horizon extends for 120 kilometres. We've got 120 kilometres of tenure, and we've got copper from start to the end. It's a very thin horizon, a few metres thick. We've got 100 plus channels over a smaller area, 9 kilometre long area, that average about a metre at around about that 2% copper and 27 grams silver, so about an ounce. But very little information so far. We're permitting to drill that now, so that's what will really move this stock in the short term when we get the drill rigs on the ground. We've gone through a lot of the hoops and hurdles that Peru presents, and you'll see a drill rig later this year, early next year on the ground. Peru is a little hard to predict. But the model here is the Kufa-Schiefer in Poland, or the Central African copper belt, the second most prolific form of copper in the world after porphyries. So the JOGMEC Japanese joint ventures in blue there. You can see the area that we're just going to focus in is in that orange circle, 100 kilometres of tenure, and we have our own projects that are in yellow still in that basin. So we're really doing something very different, found a lot of copper, and the challenge here will be to find the continuity. We know it's big, we know there's a lot of copper, but finding the continuity at drill scale. So it is our job as risk takers and to de-risk projects, and that's the understand the fatal flaw too, and that's what we're going to do. And we know we've got about that little example that Brent gave about the fire assay between here and the windows is exactly sort of what we're doing, looking in the jungle here. So we need to drill it, and we will drill it, and it's fully funded. We've worked out a very good way to explore this. I can see the time's moving on, but this is also a key point, is to get in and out of there quickly, get the right information, fit for purpose information, and that's what we've been able to do. One good example here is the LiDAR. You've got it on your iPhones, but it's throwing literally billions of laser points into the jungle, and a few of them get through to the surface floor, and that way we can map over the large area on the ground and work out the structure. So using new technology to really try and unravel these areas, and it's been quite stunning, some of the information that's come out of there. The one area that we're exploring in is the 9 kilometre long area I've talked about. It does have a footprint alone. It's only 4% of our area, but it has a footprint enough to satisfy JOGMEC as a deposit size, and so this is only 4% of our tenure, yet will fit Japanese government requirements if that continuity is there. We see it at surface, we see it in 2 dimensions, but we've got to get it into the 3rd dimension. So once again, permitting and all that has gone with it has happened. We're waiting for the decision from the Peruvian authorities to get drill rigs on the ground. Second project is Valiente, and this is the one that really does turn my crank. It's very few times in your life you come across new mineral systems that are sticking out of the ground, literally, and nobody's been on the ground before. And you know, we're talking they're about 80, 90 kilometres away from some of the major mines in the world. So we're really rewritten the geological history of the Andes and looking into that back arc. These systems weren't meant to exist so far east. Very much like Baco de Alumbrera, rewrote the history of the Argentinian portion of the Andes. We've done that, and it's interesting, uber interesting in itself from a geological point of view, but even more so from an economic point of view. So we are looking at some of those companies there. We're chasing them, the Solgols, the Filos, the Solarises, who have these deposit styles and are plus billion-dollar companies now on drilling these projects and drilling them out. And that's what we've got here. So what do we have? We've got a huge footprint. We've got 7 intrusive centres at least that we know. One that we've worked on is called Baleen, and I'm moving through this very quickly here. A big footprint. Baleen is in this little box here. It's just emerged over the last 4 or 5 months. We've got 1.5 kilometre by 1 kilometre coherent soil anomaly, gold anomaly. That's only a very small part of the larger system that extends up to an epithermal zone 2.5 kilometres to the northwest. What's most impressive is that this is a porphyry. We've got the leach cap, we've got a chalcocite blanket that we've been able to sample over at least 1 kilometre, and you know, this is just begging for a drill hole, which we're starting the drill permitting for. This is one of 7 that we've got, but it has that context, it has the alteration, has all the ingredients that make it a very exciting proposition. I'm not going to go into the details of the epithermal system here, but it's a 3 kilometre long system, just a long strike from the porphyry. Brent showed you the Corbett model for porphyries and volcanic settings, and that's exactly what we've got here, and we know each different style that we can measure. So in summary, as my time is just up, we have the Japanese government funding us this year for $2 million on this pancake sediment hosted system that's a few hundred kilometres north of Valiente, the porphyry copper golds. We've made a bona fide discovery there. I encourage you to keep an eye on us. Obviously, drilling is the key aspect here, and that's what we're working on the ground for. We're coming up over the next 3 to 6 months drilling in San Martin, and keep your eye on Valiente, as I think we'll be able to shortcut that somewhat. Shortcut is an oxymoron in Peru, but I think we'll be able to do that a lot quicker from what we've learnt at San Martin. So that's really it. You can do your metrics on the share price and value here, but this is a 30 million stock that has the potential to join our $1 billion plus neighbours in the Peruvian Andes with these discoveries. With that, I'd like to thank you very much.